Greetings and salutations, Internet citizens. This is Wolfphototech, and here we are with another delightful video. This time it's the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Chase Cards. And this is a deck of 55 cards. There's some nice instructions on the back. This price is out at $14.99. It feels a little high for what it is, but you know, yeah. The Paizo basically makes all their money on selling you flip mats, pawn sets, and cards, as well as the books. So they don't make a whole lot of money in various other things. I just tear that piece off because it's in the way. But anyways, incidentally, this is one of the first decks I got, and I was a goofball and tore the bottom. Probably should re-glue that. But anyways, this deck is designed for aiding you in chases when one character chases after another. This is an expansionary set to the core rules. It takes the basic chase rules and adds extra layers to those chase rules. This is not an entirely necessary set, but it is a very useful set to have. I have yet to ever run a chase using these cards. I have run chases without using these cards. I have looked at them and read them over, and I do believe that they are fairly useful for the purpose of adding extra flavor to your chases. I have ran more chases in Call of Cthulhu and D&D 5th edition than in Pathfinder 2nd edition. There is 2 cards right here at the very beginning that basically explain the special rules for chases. Starting a chase, setting it up, running the chase, ending the chase, as well as group size adjustments. Then you have a advertisement card for the critical hits deck and the critical fumbles deck. Please note, in the case of the critical hits deck and the critical fumbles deck, there are already videos on those decks, and those are also supplementary decks that one should run the generic rules of Pathfinder 2nd Edition before you run those decks, and you most definitely should talk with your players before. In the case of the chase deck, the critical hits deck, and the critical fumbles deck, you should talk with your players and show them some of the cards and explain it to them and see if they are open to playing with those cards, because these do add extra complications to the system. And some players might not want to play using the critical fumbles deck, because the critical fumbles deck could result in characters getting decapitated, losing a hand, breaking their weapons, all kinds of stuff. Same thing with the critical chase deck. There are numerous obstacles throughout that you're in the chase that your characters can run into. There is a point section here, and the DCs for those obstacles at particular difficulty levels, and that can add extra layers to the chase. Some people much rather prefer just use the base chase rules, or just homebrew chase rules, where you chase after our characters, you make constitution checks to see if you can maintain chases, and if your character is sufficiently faster than the enemy, they catch up easily, and they get them. There are various environments, like there's generalized cards, there are forest cards, or out in the wild, and then there's also underground cards, where if you were in town or underground, your characters would run into those situations. Like, here's one, a towering wall. That would be like a city or something. There's a series of general, and then you get to these purple ones. This is underground. And then they're all color-coded, by the way. The red ones, these are urban. So brown is general, purple is underground, red is urban, And then we also have some green ones, which are forest or wilderness. And then there's also another card in the very back that is the OGL card. And that'll probably be removed and swapped out for the orc card at some point in the future. This deck is in that 3.5 territory. It's a supplementary item. So it's completely not necessary to run chases. However, it adds extra layers to chases. So if you've been playing Pathfinder 2nd Edition for some time, and you and your party have gotten to the level of system mastery where they're comfortable with the system, and they want to add extra spice to it, a chase deck. Also, the chase deck will help out with that. Same thing with the critical hits deck and critical fumbles deck. Usually, if you're going to do critical hits deck, you're going to do the critical fumbles deck as well to balance it. Otherwise, you get a power boost for having a criticals hit deck. It can no criticals fumble deck. So yeah, 3.5. This deck is more or less neutral. It doesn't need to be counterbalanced like the critical hits deck and the criticals fumble deck. But, okay. So there you go. It's about 3.5. It's a fairly cheap item to tack onto your game with a bunch of extra rules for chases. And I hope you enjoy this video. Have a delightful day, nice night, and a wonderful week. And see you next month. Next video.